Welcome to our podcast, Happy Household. We appreciate you listening in. Ben and I started this podcast to share some insights on what we have found successful and maybe what wasn't so successful. Our hope is that we can help each of you in some small way while getting to spend some quality time together. We feel the key to a successful relationship is trust and communication. Whether it be with friends, family, or significant others, open communication builds trust and creates a home that can become a happy household.
Hi, sweet pea.
Hi, honey.
I'm having a hard time keeping on track. It's like, ooh, something shiny.
Yes. Usually the something shiny is a piece of equipment that drove by.
Sometimes it's just movement in the front yard.
Yeah.
So.
You know the whole thing of squirrel? Yeah, that's bad.
Yeah. Shiny squirrel.
Shiny squirrel.
Squirrel with a Rolex. Ooh, shiny squirrel.
Squirrel.
I don't know. Maybe
You're nuts.
No, not my nuts. I got mine. At any rate, to kind of get back to where we're supposed to be today, which is a long trip off a short road, I was going to talk to you about shifts. So, as everyone knows, that we work opposite shifts,
which can make relationships very difficult. So, for those of you who do that,
yeah, if you work opposite shifts and you're making your household work, hats off to you because you've learned a lot, and you definitely have a way of making things work for the best, and that is very hard to do, as you probably have gathered from all the episodes that we put up. We are very close. Amy and I are very close, and with opposite shifts, sometimes that puts a huge strain on everything. And so when we talk about making that personal time count, that's what we're talking about, because we don't get a lot of time. You know, like during the day, she's at work and she is completely involved in her work, which is what she gets paid to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she's off work. I'm at work, which
he literally leaves an hour before I get off.
Yeah,
you leave to go to work an hour before I get off of work.
Yep. So what little interactions we get is just in between her clients and in between meetings and paperwork and all the other good little things that she does. So it's not like we have a lot of time during the day,
mm-hmm.
and we have zero time in the evening.
Yep.
Which
it was even more difficult when I was working in the office. It made it a little bit more difficult for us to see each other, because it would be a good, I'd see you.
Not necessarily, because I used to come up and visit you for lunch 3 to 5 days a week.
Yeah, but I'm just saying that was the only time that we had where we still do that here. But I'm able to, like, if you have a question, you can come up and you can ask me a question, or you give me a kiss good morning, or
right.
So we have a little bit more availability now. Yes, I'm a firm believer if I work from home, I'm focused on my job still. That's important to me.
Hyper-focused, I call it.
Yeah, because these people that I work for are amazing, and I want to give them my best. It's not because, I'm working from home, I can just...
Well, you also have this thing about helping the people, helping your members. And
I do go above and beyond, I feel like.
You do go above and beyond to help those individuals that's your job, is to help. So, yeah, you're hyper-focused. And when I'm at work, I drive a forklift, loading and unloading trailers and sorting warehouses. I don't have time to, nor is it safe for me to stay on the phone and talk to you and do those little questions here and there and all that good stuff. So it makes it difficult throughout the week. And I think sometimes even when on the weekends, when it comes around to family time, I think it still puts a little stress on us there too, because then we feel like we have to make up for everything.
Yeah, because we don't really have that. So we connect, but it's not, at the risk of sounding all mushy, we enjoy one another. Like, I feel like you're my best friend. I have my girl best friend, but like, you're my best friend. You're the person I want to annoy for the rest of his life. You're the one I want to...
Challenge accepted.
You're the one that I want to, drop trees with and mow the lawn with and play games with.
You just want to do it before I get to it.
I like the machinery. Don't judge me.
So now it's a fight to see who gets out to mow the lawn first. Which a lot of
For
couples,
the record, I did this weekend.
Yeah, a lot of couples can't say that. I know quite a few couples that doesn't happen that way.
Yeah.
So they're like, you want me to go out and do what? What if the neighbors see me? Oh, who cares?
Bring it on. You can watch me mow the lawn. I don't care. But I think it's because we share the household, whether it's inside the house or outside the house, we share that responsibility. It's not my job is inside the home and cleaning and cooking and all that stuff. While that's, yes, my primary job is to keep the house clean and keep food on the table and, organize the grocery list, because God knows you couldn't do that to save your life. Love you, but you couldn't.
I could.
Ramen noodles and boxed meals are not groceries, honey.
Yeah, but they're organized. It makes my shopping list nice and just, okay, I have 3 items.
Now, could you do it for all of us or just you?
Well, you guys have to learn how to eat not so pickly.
We don't eat pickly, whatever that means.
I was trying to particularly. Maybe that was the word I was looking for.
I like pickly better. We don't eat pickly. First of all, we don't like pickles.
Well, there's your first problem, because pickles are good.
Pickles are disgusting. But teach those who like it, go for it. I will not fight you on that one. So we have our primary roles, but when we look at the house, we don't see inside versus outside. We don't see boy job versus girl job. Like, we may joke and be like, well, that's a girl job, I'm not going to do it. Or that's a boy job, I don't want to do it. We may joke, but ultimately at the foundation.
I don't think I've ever joked about that.
Well, we don't call it boy or girl job. We just say, well, you're supposed to cook. I don't know how to cook. You do too know how to cook. You just don't want to cook. Well, you cook better than me.
Well, that I agree on. You do cook better than I do.
No.
Ramen noodles and can of soup, that's not very good cooking skills.
Anywho, but we see it as a team effort. The house in a whole is a team effort. Raising the kids is a team effort. Taking care of the house, maintaining the house is a team effort. The finances in the house is a team effort. It's not his or hers. And
when you're on opposite shifts, that's like a gear missing a lot of teeth, right? Because it slips a lot, and it makes it difficult. And sometimes when we get around to that family time, it doesn't help relieve the stress of opposite shift work. Because now, when it comes to that weekend time, we feel like we have to double down per se, and we can't just go around and just kind of do what we were going to do anyway. Because now there's a lot of times there that we feel like we have to. Well, we missed out on 40 hours during the week, and we got to make that up, and it does add stress all the way around.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of people feel that pressures and those issues, but don't really know how to work around it. And unfortunately, it's one issue that I wish I could help with, but I don't know if, we seem to do all right, but it kind of comes natural for us being together. And I don't know if there's any good fix for that.
I don't think you can eliminate the stress that I wouldn't even really say, stress, I guess is the right word. The pressure that it puts on the time that you do have together, that you have to soak up every minute you possibly can. My only advice on that would be to remind yourself that this is not permanent.
No.
That one day, one or both of you will retire, and that all the things that you wanted to do, you'll be able to do. Yes, you might be a little bit older. Yes, you might be able to do this. But another recommendation that I highly, highly recommend is the 777 rule. Right. Go on a date. It doesn't have to be a 4-hour-long date. Go on a quick date every week. Whatever week you guys have available, whatever day it is, every 7 weeks, go on a little bit longer of a date. Yep. You have to adjust that 777 rule to what fits for you. And then every 7 months, go on a vacation together.
Yep. And if you want more detail on that 777 rule.
our first episode.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I believe it's right there at the very beginning of this season, and it goes into a little more detail of each one. But the 777 rule definitely would probably help alleviate some of that pressure, and I think the rest of it's just going to be communication.
Yeah.
Because
And telling your partner, like we often, more me than I think you, but I think she's about equal actually. We let each other know, like, I don't like your shift. I don't like that we're not your shift, but I don't like
my job either.
I don't like being on the opposite shifts that you are. And it's hard, but being open and vulnerable about the fact that it's not easy because the other person, it's not easy for them either.
Yeah. And I will say that even though we're on opposite shifts, I say I don't like my job. I do kind of like it. It is nice because I get to run some heavier equipment. And I enjoy that. I do know that my shift also gives me the opportunity to get out of the house.
Mm-hmm.
And we have touched on it briefly before, but with a house of 4 girls constantly bickering back and forth about sisterly stuff, that gives me the opportunity to take myself out of those environments, which actually I think does me some good for not just myself, but for the relationship between the girls and I, because I'm not subject to it all the time. And I do have an issue with if I hear the same thing over and over and over again, eventually I get to the point where I start getting upset about it. And then that creates a lot of issues as well. So I think even being on off shift, honestly, I think is what actually helps us work best.
Well,
in certain aspects, right?
I do think that it does help from whether you work opposite shifts or not. I think you getting away to work, it's ingrained in you to work.
Right.
There's not a time where you're sitting doing nothing unless I make you sit down and be like, I would like to just watch a movie with you. I don't want to think about anything. I don't want to do anything. I just want you near me.
Right. And at that point, my body hurts so much. I'm like,
sure, I'll sit down. Right.
I get to rest.
But
can I have some medication first?
Yeah, right. Trying to get you to take medication is like pulling the skin off people.
That's a whole nother topic altogether.
Yeah, well, we won't go into that, but I meant pulling teeth, not skin. But yes, opposite shifts work really well for, let's say the girls have a doctor's appointment and I've already taken off 4 days for the month for other doctor's appointments. It's nice to be able to have somebody that's like, I'll take them. Why are you taking the time off when I can just take them? What's the point?
Yeah.
And you and I have had, that's a whole different conversation, but you and I have had the conversation about that's not your responsibility. That's my responsibility. I gave birth to these kids.
Yeah, but when I chose you, I accepted part of that response. I accepted the response, not part. I accepted the responsibility to pull weight.
But a little bit of backstory for you guys. Part of the reason that was a little bit of a struggle was because I had done it, I wouldn't say by myself, but it was by myself. I was a single mom for 6-7 years before I met him. And unfortunately, the girl's dad was really not very present. So I was always responsible for making sure they had food. I was responsible for making sure they got to and from doctor's appointments, eye appointments. If they were sick, I had to take the time off.
Right.
And that was something that was ingrained in my brain throughout that whole process of I can't count on anybody. Right. I can't count on anybody to do it. I can't. Then it rolled into after being with you for a little while of like, I don't want to put that burden on him. He's already taking on so much with just the 5 of us and all the baggage that we come with and all the trauma and all this. I don't want to add yet another thing on you. And you finally sat me down and was like, said exactly what you said. I chose this. It's much different when you expect me to do it. That's where it's like, I would still do it, but I would become resentful.
Yeah. And I've had that problem in the past.
Correct.
Right. Yep.
I don't expect you to do anything. I will ask you, hey, are you available? Could you potentially do this? Because I have this, and this going on. Or, I'm at work and I would rather not take the time if possible because I like to make sure that I'm reliable at work as well.
Right. Well, and unfortunately, a household has to operate on what? Money.
Yeah.
So when you take time off for work, that creates stress on other side of the circle. Mm-hmm. Which is not helping us none. So you know what? The opposite shift does do very well in a lot of aspects. Does it create pressure? on an emotional relationship between the two of us? Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Are we strong enough together to combat that? I
Yeah.
believe yes, we are.
I believe we are too. And I think a lot of it is because we are open and communicative about the fact that, today's a crappy day. I really wish you were home. I really wish that, you didn't have to work opposite shifts, but and we have both of us have those moments where you call and you're just so frustrated because,
People are stupid.
people didn't do what they were supposed to do.
Should I cut that?
No.
Okay.
People don't do what they're supposed to do, or they leave you with a crap ton of work, or, and then you got your issues at work. And there are times that it is difficult, but I think we do a good job of maneuvering through those with communication and understanding that it's a moment. It's not that we're like, you have to change everything about what you're doing so that you fit my schedule. It's hey, this is just hard for a second. I just needed you to hear that it was hard.
Right.
And I'm in it for the long haul. So
Unfortunately, there's a few people that I've known throughout my history that their relationships, their marriages or whatever have failed specifically because of shift work, and they don't know how to work through that. It saddens me sometimes to hear that, because I know the stresses, and matter of fact, I have a close friend of mine that him and his wife almost lost their marriage because of shift work. When he took the job, I specifically warned her. I was like, look, this is going to get very tricky.
Yeah.
I says, and I want you guys to be aware of it before he takes this shift. What's going to happen? This is what's going to happen. That's what's going to happen. Blah, blah, blah. You're going to have a lot of issues. You think it's hard now? Wait. I was like, just, if you guys choose to go through with it, then that's fine. But be prepared. And
Yeah.
he worked it probably, I don't know, like a year. And he started looking for another job because of the fact that they could not work through it.
Yeah. And some couples,
yeah.
some couples it doesn't work for. We're not saying it's
It's very hard.
It's very, very hard. Well, and there's a lady we follow on Facebook. And
Stereo.
yeah, she often posts about her blue collar man and how the fact that, he works.
What is that? I Am Warrior or something?
I Am Lady Warrior.
I am Lady Warrior. Yep.
And she has a lot of good points, but I don't think it's just strictly for blue collar men. I think there is, yes, it's blue collar men. They do work morning to night, and rarely are they ever at home. And a lot of those women have to do a lot of that stuff on their own.
I know a lot of white collar workers that do the exact same thing, though.
Yep. And that's what I was referencing with, I can speak to you and I, that even though we see each other, we don't really see each other. It's you're out doing yard work or running errands or whatever. So while you're off work, and then you go to work. So we really don't see each other a whole lot.
Yeah, so we both put in like 16-hour days every day.
Yeah. But she has a lot of great points. Is like, to make something like that work, you have to be willing to say, I'm not just going to run when it gets really hard, because it's going to get hard. Yeah. Regardless of what shift you work, regardless of what you do for a living. If you're going to choose to be with somebody, and this is blanket statement, if you choose to be with somebody, it's going to be hard.
That's why I write in the vows it says for better or for worse.
Well, I agree with those vows, but I'm much more of I'm going to promise to love you when I don't like you, when I don't agree with your choices, when, the enemy tries to completely tear us apart. I'm going to choose to love you. It's not a feeling, it's a choice. I'm going to choose to love you because you mean more to me than whatever is happening. And I think that, a lot of that vow of for better or worse gets lost because people are like, well, we just fell out of love. You don't fall out of love.
You choose to stop loving.
Yeah, that's a choice. And it's really difficult to hear people. And, if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. Cool, whatever. But it's definitely a choice, and you have to choose to work through the difficult times and figure out how it works for you. What works for you and I is not going to work for everybody.
No. But if you can take something from these casts, and I know we've said it before, these opinions and this advice is tailored for us. So if you take what advice that we talk about, take the information and try to tailor it to your situation, you will find that you might get the answers that you're looking for. And the best part about it is those answers are answers that you came up with. There's no better answer than the one that's tailored specifically for you.
We don't know everything. That's why we often ask you guys for your comments, feedbacks, things that work for you, because we do still have bumps in the road for both of us. And I'll use an example. Take this weekend. We ended up uprooting a tree, like falling a tree. And I'm not 100% confident on the tractor just yet with the bucket and trying to operate the bucket while driving the tractor and digging, and because I didn't grow up with that. I grew up on four-wheelers and I didn't have to you dug with a shovel. Like
when I was a kid, I did too. My dad was like, I got the equipment, you got the shovel.
Well, you know what I mean? But like you grew up around, you were a farm boy. You grew up around that stuff. You knew how to operate it. Your mom and I were talking about it, and the fact that you operate so much like your dad. It's so cool to watch when you guys work together. It's so cool to see. And I know that it wasn't always that way, but the way that you guys run the machinery, it's almost like a second limb or like another limb to you guys. You just do it.
It's an extension of ourselves.
It's not that way for me. Right. And I was trying to learn because I do love to learn. I love to run the machines too. And I got frustrated and my voice got a little shaky because I was about to cry because I was so mad. And I was mad because I couldn't figure it out. I was mad because I had asked you for help and you kind of ignored me. And your mom had to tell you, like, she does need your help. Like, right. She's trying, but she does need your help. So I got frustrated at you and I basically just put it in neutral. I was like, you can do this. Like, I'm done. I'm frustrated. I don't want to do it. And then you would come around and you're like, well, what's wrong? I was like, you suck at communicating. You're horrible at communicating. And in that moment, I basically meant that you have a very difficult time communicating how to do something unless you're doing it and showing somebody. But I needed you to walk me through how to do that. And like 5 minutes later, you basically showed me how to do it. And that's fine because I'm a visual person.
And I did tell you.
I was so mad in that moment. I was almost in tears. I was so mad.
And I told you, I says, I can't necessarily tell you exactly which way to move the stick, which way to turn the bucket, which direction. I can't communicate that because it's not something that my brain actually thinks of. It just does it. So I almost have to do it while I'm talking about it. So my hand and my brain and my mouth are in direct communication with each other. Because if I don't, I can't explain it, right? I almost have to be sitting in there. I almost have to have my body control the machine and have my mouth tell you what it's doing at the same time. Because my body kind of just does it.
Which is hard for me.
Yes. It's hard for anybody.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to just tell you what to do. Well,
that's what I mean. But like, it's an extension of you. You can't.
I'm not a teacher. I'm a shower.
Yes and no. You're just so used to just doing it and knowing it. You don't know how to explain how to do it.
Right.
And for me, I'm just like, I just need you to show me how to do it or be here if I have a question. And it was like I had said that and it was like just completely ignored. And I was just frustrated. I was mad. And about 10 minutes later, I got back on because you would shut it off. You're like, well, my parents are here. I'd like to visit. And I'm like, then you should have said that. We didn't need to do this while your parents were here.
Well, that's fine. My dad likes watching that stuff anyway.
And then I just hopped back on and I was like, well, if he's not going to teach me, then I'm just going to do it. Like, I'm going to figure it out. Like, with that said, you came and which really irritated me. You worked the freaking pedals with your hand and did the bucket with your other hand. I'm like, how? Like, I can't remember if the bucket goes up or down if I tilt it forward or back. I was like, what is going on?
Well, and the thing that you have to remember about that stuff is that you just have to do it. I mean, there's so many times that I wanted the machine to do one thing and I told it to do the opposite. I'm like, well, duh. That's why I don't know, and it probably irritated you. I didn't watch you do a lot of it.
Which was one of the issues I had because I needed you to correct me if I was doing it wrong. And that's where I got annoyed because I was like, well, you know what? Fine. I want you to, and it sounds petty, but I'm like, I want you to have the time with your parents and I want you to be engaged with your parents. I do. But we were trying to get this done, and I'm like, it's taking me 10 times longer because you won't help me. And it was just like, nah.
But when people are watched, people have a tendency to make mistakes, and then they get irritated faster. And it's just something that you're just going to have to do, and I'm okay with that. So a lot of times I just had the conversation with my folks, and I didn't keep eyes directly on you because sometimes people get nervous and they screw up even more when there's people watching. So there's no sense of me putting that extra stress on you. Just
okay, but
play with it.
But what I'm telling you is that's case in point, the communication people. I was telling you I needed you to watch me. Like, I'm not that type of person that if it's somebody I don't know, fine, whatever, I'll figure it out. But I was like, I need you to help me. And you had that mentality of like, well, she's going to mess up if somebody watches. But I'm asking you specifically. And then your mom ended up getting up to help me because she saw my frustration.
See, I didn't see her get up at all.
She got up and she came over. It was like after like the third or fourth time I went in, and she said, you just got to tip it just a little bit. She said, it's a lot about feeling and doing it, over and over, but just tip it just a little bit forward. Cause I'm not used to being able to see over the tractor or something.
You can't see it very well anyway. Yeah.
It was one of those things that I was just like, you've got to be kidding me. Like, it was very, very frustrating. And ultimately we ended up working it out, and
the tree's out.
There's
still a hole in the front yard, but the tree's out.
I wish I could have tipped it, but I didn't. He did. But it was a team effort regardless. But yeah, to say that we're perfect at communication is
it's a false statement.
It's an absolute lie. We do still have our issues, as you guys heard. I needed something. I tried to communicate it. He didn't pick up on the hint. And so then I got mad and was like, you suck at communication. He doesn't suck at communication, but that's how I felt in that moment. Like, I'm trying to tell you I need you,
right,
and you're ignoring me. Like, if you want to spend time with your family, cool. I love that. But first of all, your mom and your dad were like, well, this is cool. Let's watch. And I'm like, I don't care that they're watching, but I need you to guide me so that we're not here for 4 days trying to get this out. Yeah, I was not at all happy at all.
But you did an amazing job. And you have the ground working for an amazing skill. Well, that stuff doesn't happen overnight, sweetheart.
No.
And I have done a lot of hours on that machine. I've done a lot of hours on a lot of machines. I got a good head start on you. So don't beat yourself up, and I will try to do better in the future for sure. So, well, I guess for now, I guess we'll take that. We'll wrap it up right there and call it a day. And we appreciate everyone that's tuned in, and we really truly hope that our discussion for today has given you just a tiny bit of knowledge or information or advice or whatever you want to call it that'll help you tailor the answers that you need for you to help your home become a happy household like ours is.
Yeah. And don't get down on yourself if you have a bad communication day. Those are going to happen.
Yep.
Just learn from it like we did. Learn what works best for you guys.
Yeah, because what works best for me does not obviously work best for her.
It knew.
So it's...
But ultimately, I killed it.
Oh, yeah.
I dug that tree out.
You did most of it anyway.
My body will tell you I overworked it.
Yeah, and when the tractor didn't work, you got the axe.
I axed them roots.
He axed those roots.
I axed them roots.
To disconnect from the stump.
To get out of the way, man.
Either
way, ultimately ended up being a great day. It was nice to have the kids out there, and the older two helped, and it ended up being a very, very good day, even with the lack of communication on both sides. It wasn't just you, it was me too.
Right.
But we ended up having a very good day. I have a sunburn to prove it. We have a hole in our yard to prove it. And we have a couple more trees to drop. So let's see if we get better at communication then. Other than that, we hope you guys have a very, very great week.
Yep.
And we look forward to hearing from you on all of our platforms.
Don't forget to like, comment, share.
Yep.
Pass on the news.
Feel free to
feel free to spread that name around. It helps us, help you.
That's right. Other than that, hope you guys have a very, very wonderful week.
Yep. And don't forget, just in case I forgot to say it, happyhouseholdpodcast@gmail.com. If you can't get to that stuff, or you have stuff that you don't want to put up on social media, we totally understand. Shoot us that email. You can put all that information right in there, and we'll get it just the same. Until next time, you guys have a very blessed week, and we will talk to you soon.
Bye.